Laura, hi, how are you?
I'm good. I found this reishi. What do you think?
Well, we call this the Oregon Reishi. It actually, the name is Ganoderma oregonense. We are in British Columbia, so why wouldn't it be called British Columbiensis or something like that? Anyhow, it's a provincial name. Nevertheless, this is one of the few polypores that you can eat.
Okay.
I don't know anyone else eating it except for me and I think David Aurora and his sort of, group of people. But that's what we mycologists do. We try to experiment with new species. This mushroom has many interesting antimicrobial properties. What's most notable is a sister species called Ganoderma sugi has been found to be very good for wound healing and burn victims. And in Korea, they grew out the mycelium, and they actually use it as a natural skin healing membrane on top of burn victims. Wow. So after they peel off very painfully the burnt skin, the mycelium in direct contact prevented infection and stimulated healing. Wow. So that's what's the amazing thing about mushrooms. There's so many different attributes. But this one has another property that, I sort of just made this up. I've been saying that good ideas recommend themselves. So because I made it up doesn't mean that other people haven't also discovered this as well. But you take a knife, and it turns out that this flesh is very marshmallow-like, and you can cut it. But let's say I had an accident with my knife, which I might have right now, hopefully not, but let's say if I did, and I end up cutting myself, and we already know it has wound healing properties. Well, that gave me the idea that you could take this and it becomes an artificial Band-Aid. Wow. Because you can put it directly over a cut like this with a rubber band or a string, and you have then wound healing on your cut. It has antimicrobial properties. So some people use triple antibiotic or Neosporin. This is kind of a natural antibiotic. But if this is not blood soaked, or even if it was, this is the perfect size to cook. This, in a frying pan. And it's soft enough at this stage, but once it gets hardened, you can't really slice and eat it. So this stage is still quite delicious. And when it becomes more mature, this red callus goes out, and this is really, really tough. Now, this is an annual polypore, Ganoderma oregonense. Here's last year's. And like anything else in nature, it's a banquet for other organisms. And so insects and beetles have come in here. And so this is last year's fruiting. And if it's wet, it gets shiny. So let's go back to the kitchen and cook this up.
Cool.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, anytime.
Hi, we're back in the kitchen with my friend Laura. So Laura, we're going to cut these up. This is the Oregon Ling or Ganoderma oregonense. It's the only Ganoderma that I know that you can eat and saute. Ganodermas typically are really hard. So why don't you just go ahead and throw these, whoops, these getting a little tough there. Why don't you throw these right on the pan.
Okay.
And see, look how nice that cut, huh? Look at that, huh? Whoa. Some mushrooms have just the right resistance to the knife to allow the cutting to be good. So add some more. Watch yourself.
Might need the Band-Aid.
Yeah, well, I know where to get one. So you have any questions?
I am curious about the nutritional value of these mushrooms. Is it like button mushrooms? What kind of vitamins?
That's an excellent question. With the exception of maitake, which is a soft polypore, or maybe chicken of the woods, the Ganodermas that we've analyzed have only had 5 to 7% protein. They tend to be a lot tougher. However, Ganoderma oregonense, I know of no nutritional analyses, but I'll look it up, and if we do have them, a website I populate called mushroomreferences.com has all sorts of information on medicinal properties of mushrooms, including nutritional.
Great.
So if we find it, I'll post it there. But you're asking an excellent question because this is softer flesh. It's not like a hard conch. It's naturally going to have more protein, but it does have very potent steroidal compounds, which are anti-inflammatory. So they're also in the group of antiviral compounds. So this is a unexplored area, but this is what us myconauts do. We push the envelope by consuming something that historically is, that we don't know of any use.
Very cool.
Okay, here we are about 7 or 8 minutes later, I estimate. So Laura, take it away. Tell me what you think.
Okay, give it a try here. Took this one off a little earlier so it cooled down. It's a little crispy in some places and still a little soft in others. It's chewy. It's like a nice firm texture. And then some of the more cooked bits are kind of almost crispy. I like it. The flavor, because there's nothing but olive oil in here.
Right.
It's subtle. I don't quite know what to compare it to.
Well, see, that's a good response, because if it's subtle and it's neutral, it's a foundation, and many cooks know this. So if you add soy sauce, of course, and then, which is salty, low, sesame oil, a little bit of sesame oil, and just a little bit of garlic, and you stir this up, and then you soak these.
Like the cooked ones?
Yeah, go ahead now, do a dip.
Like dip?
Do a dip of that.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing. That's a great texture. Yeah, it's kind of meaty.
It's meaty, right? It's like a meat substitute. So this is a great thing about a lot of these neutral mushrooms. The puffballs like that also, Calvaceae gigantea group. They're fairly really neutral in their flavor, but you can build flavors upon them using them as a foundation. So if you are starving and you're hungry, you know, this is, I think, a great source of nutrition, and can help you fortify your immune system at the same time. So.
Yeah, I can imagine eating this actually like in a sandwich, like a vegan sandwich with sliced tomatoes and avocados, and it's a nice firm piece of texture in the middle.